Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Darrell.
Hey everybody, welcome to Season 2, Episode 95. We're back. I am your host for the short period of time that I'll be able to keep it, Jeremy. And with me, as always, is your favorite temporarily co-host, Darrell. We'll get to that later, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that. There's a reason for that, but yeah.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I've slept.
Yes.
We've recovered, and we're good. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
We had some time apart, and now we're back together.
Yeah, we had 2 days apart from after a week of being together.
Yeah. And yes, if you were listening at the beginning, this is episode 95. So for those of you who pay close attention, you might say, wasn't last week episode 95? And you'd be right. It was going to be our Gold Eagle Open recap show. We were going to do it live from Oat Goat Cafe, the Screaming Goat. But it turns out that our two mugs take up a heck of a lot of internet bandwidth. And Ontario Internet just couldn't handle it. So
That's it.
it didn't happen, but we still want to bring you the Gold Eagle Open recap. So we're looking to try and do that next week. If we can combine all those guests, get them back on the show, we'll be doing that next week.
Yep, absolutely. Well, tonight's show is going to be all about Canadian Nationals. We're planning to go into overtime tonight to bring you as much coverage as we can. We'll be starting a little bit later with an interview with the FPO winner, Paige Pierce.
That's right.
Yeah. And then we'll have the MPO winner, Ryan Monn, as well. And then we'll finish the interviews with maybe one, maybe two. We're going to get tournament director Darrell Bankes on for sure. And maybe Sean O'Reilly might be joining. We're not too sure. After that, we'll take some time to answer any questions that people might have. And we'll tell you all about our experiences at the event.
Yeah. So that's a good moment now, is that if you're in the comments there, put some questions in there for us. And as we get to the end of the episode, we'll kind of scroll back through and pick some of them. And if you want to know how we survived 5 days together, that might be
it's going to be the main question.
That's going to be the first one. We're going to have to say what was the craziest moments between the two of us that way. But before we talk about nationals, we have some other big news for you.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working with Lane Mosolf of Mosolf Designs on a new logo, and we are ready to show it to everyone. And if you've been following along on social media over the past few days, you may have already seen it. But if you haven't, here it is.
Here it is.
Look at that. And there's a number of different logos we got. We got this CO. We got Chain Out Podcast there.
With Darryl and Jeremy and the cool hipster way of writing it.
That's right. Drop the vowels, baby.
Yeah.
We got the side-by-side.
2 different colorways at the moment. I like the kind of the cream and the red, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I think, which one is your favorite?
I'm partial to the darker blue and the red. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it looks good. We want to know, what do you think? How do you like our new logo? It's a big difference from the one we made on Canva.
Yeah. And it's funny how we always thought that was just going to be a temporary logo, but it kind of stuck. And, it was good. I liked it. It was good for what it was. But seeing that the podcast has grown so much, yeah, it only seemed fitting that we move on to the next phase.
Well,
with a new logo.
Getting the new logo, and then Lane with all of his little thought process behind what he does, and the intricacies of taking that C and the O and making it look like a chain link and linking them together.
Yeah.
Like, it's just got the levels. We got the Canadian flag in there. We always got to make sure we're representing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so we had a couple of hats made
Mm-hmm.
that obviously that we're wearing them right now. We're showing them off. We had to have some sort of merch to take to nationals. We also got a whole bunch of stickers made as well. And I know you were and we were handing them out to everybody on our card, and we were handing them out to random people that we could see. But we still have a lot left over. I think you had gotten way more stickers than we needed, but we knew that we didn't want to give them all out at nationals. We want to keep some for the West Coast as well.
Yep.
So if you ever see us out on the course, don't forget, come up to us. We're very approachable, apparently. Ask us for a sticker. We'll have them all. I'll have them on me. You've got them on you. Ask us for a sticker. We'll have all different variations of the sticker. So, yeah, you want one?
You'll get one.
Yeah.
And if you're shy, don't worry about it, because we're not. So we'll probably track you down and give you one anyways.
Yeah.
So with the new logo out and with the hats, we already found out with all the social media, Facebook comments and Instagram and that type of thing, people were asking how can they get a hat. So I think we have to make more hats. I don't know which hats we'll make,
right,
but we'll make some more hats. Now, what are you thinking for other gear that we want to do? You got any ideas?
Well, Brendan in the chat right now. I mean, we could give a shout out to the people in the chat, but Brendan's saying, is there any way those logos could be in a jersey next year?
Oh, there might possibly be. We have some thoughts on that, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. I like a jersey and a hat.
Yeah.
That's where maybe a long sleeve as well. I like a long sleeve for those cooler morning rounds or late full rounds, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like maybe I like the 3/4 sleeve because I'm always pushing up my sleeves.
Yeah.
The 3/4 halfway up my arm already. So maybe either the side by side or that full chain out logo on there.
Yeah.
Something like that. So put some comments in, in what you like and what you're interested in. And if it's something that you want to be wearing around on the disc golf course or to work or the grocery store, I don't know, anywhere.
Chain Out Podcast active wear. You can wear it anywhere.
That's right. We're gonna have to work on our advertising for that, I think. So we should also, Darrell, we should get one of our giveaways wrapped up that's been hanging around for a long time. Tonight's the night we're gonna do it. So we have our Limber Open hat that we were given from Alex Penny. Let's spin that wheel and show everybody who
finally won. We're gonna give it away.
Congratulations. Congratulations to Kristen Swirls, K Swirls. You're getting this Limber Open hat. It's great to see that you've won. Next thing we got to give away, Darrell, that we'll put up a post about and we'll get everybody to jump on there is from Falcons Flight. So we said we were going to give away our Innova flight towel.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one that I got in the players pack when I went to Falcons a couple weeks ago. Beautiful one.
Gorgeous looking towel, yeah.
Picture Jordan Alway did there with the Northern Lights in the background from the 2023 or 2024 one. And then also Don Annette is throwing in one of those awesome pound fanny packs. Now we're not sure what the colors that he's going to get because all those pound ones had different colors, but I brought one of mine to show you, which is this brown and green one here. Mm-hmm. So I'm such a nice guy. Sometimes I tell Darrell, I don't know if he believes me or not, but we'll find out what colors that Don has. And if you prefer green and brown, you can take this one or you can get the one that Don has.
Just going back to what people want for, logo and what they'd like to wear it on. Brendan says that he wants to see it on a swimsuit.
On a swimsuit.
So if you're going to model it and do the advertising for it, Brendan, then you go right ahead.
We could do that. We could do one of those old timey swimsuits, that full body one, right? Like with the pantaloon legs and stuff like that. So that's fantastic. I see Howie joined us in the chat as well. We should say a quick shout out to some of the people in the chat.
Just giving us a shout out for great work on the opening ceremonies.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll need to talk about that a little later too. That was
dive in a little bit deeper. Yeah,
that was a great moment.
Yeah, we got Howie in the chat. Kevin's in the chat. Sonia's in the chat. Brendan, we already mentioned. Mark Thompson, he's back in the chat. Dina's in the chat.
It's a full room tonight.
Lots of people. Yeah.
So that's our next giveaway is the Falcons flight, but the giveaways don't stop there, Darrell.
We got more?
We got more. I think it's your turn.
Is it really? Well, we had a chance to meet Jason Baston in person. Now, you may know him better as Judge Havoc if you've seen him on social media. He's an amazing artist. He's done so many cool designs. Now, when we seen him in person, he was kind enough to give us not one, not two, not even 3 discs. He gave us 4 discs that he did as a collaboration with Gateway Discs. They're all signed. And they're all his discs with his logo on them.
Well, his designs, his signature. We got him to sign them for us, and each one has a different design. Like one has this witch on there, and I believe that isn't that what the disc is called? Maybe I can't.
You know what? I'm not familiar with Gateway.
Oh, it was a spell. Spell has the witch on it. That makes sense. We got kind of a robot astronaut on this one. What do you got on there? Got an owl?
I got an owl on the putter, the hemp putter, and then I got a futuristic robot soldier type thing on this one over here, which I don't know because they don't mark their discs.
So just another reason to keep following and hanging out with us and checking out every week, checking our socials, because we have so many giveaways. So this is so amazing when Judge gave us this. I don't know if we're going to break this up into 2 and 2. We could probably do 2 giveaways with these, but we'll see what we do when we get there.
We've done that before. We've done like an A and a B poll or like an A and a thing. Carrie Neal, she's in the chat as well. She wants to see a snapback hat and a hoodie.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, I like
Great
it.
options.
People,
Great
people
ideas.
want them. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah, that's exciting for what we want to hear. While we're waiting for Paige to jump on and join us, which should be joining in about 5 minutes, we got through some top of show. Why don't we talk a little bit more about nationals? And maybe do you want to start with the opening ceremonies?
Yeah. So we kind of had a meeting. We had a couple of meetings with Darrell Bankes about kind of sent us some video and photos and things like that of where we would be setting up. When we got there, everything was set up for us. We had a nice set of speakers and a microphone and everything like that. We had a table there. We got everything set up, and then we just realized that we didn't take into consideration the time of day and the fact that the sun was out, and we had a big glare coming across our skin, and one side of our face was washed out, and that would have been fine. That would have been,
We would have made it work.
we would have made it work. But then luckily enough, we were also involved, and we had conversations with Jared, I forget his last name,
From Canuck Hucks.
yeah, from Canuck Hucks, who just happened to be there, had just finished doing some player interviews and had a nice big like 8x8 diffuser,
Right.
that he ended up getting set up, and we put that up, and he helped us make it look as good as it could be. If you look at our social media, if you check out Instagram, or if you go onto our YouTube, you'll see the full not the full highlights, the full ceremony that we uploaded, so that anybody who wasn't there got a chance to watch it as well.
Yeah, it felt like we were on a movie set with that big diffuser blocking things there. And, a lot of people were wondering, would there be one person who came to opening ceremonies? Would there be 5, maybe 10 or 20? And I was going the other way. I'm like, there's going to be hundreds of people at opening ceremonies. I think we settled probably somewhere in between.
Yeah, I don't know. No one did a real count, but it was over. I would say it was over 200. Would you say it was over 200, around that number?
I think around that number for sure.
Yeah.
And then, and the one thing we found out with that was we had our microphone and we were doing the speeches and the conversations and all of those things that we did, and we didn't get the crowd noise.
We didn't get the crowd noise.
But trust me, people were laughing.
Yes.
And applauding.
Exactly. One little but kind of behind the scenes that I wanted to share from my side was, we had everything set up. We got the camera, we got the tripod, we got all the microphones, we tested it. We were able to link it from the laptop to the speakers, so we could record it. Everything was good. We had the camera set up. We were in frame. We got the lighting right. Okay, we got 5 minutes until we're going to go live. Why did the screen go black? So then I went and checked the camera, and because where it was sat,
in the sun,
sat out in the sun, the camera overheated 5 minutes before we were about to go and record and start the opening ceremony. So quickly pivoted, grabbed the screen, pulled it across a little bit so that the camera had a chance to cool down. I turned it off, and luckily 5 minutes was all it needed. Turned it back on again. Everything was good. It stayed, and then the sun actually did set just a little bit down beneath the trees.
Yep.
Kept it cool, and everything went good. So
yeah. And I think really at this point too, we should shout out a thank you both to the Parked Pro boys for kind of mentioning a little bit about the two of us, that we might be a good candidate to help with that. And then also for Darrell Bankes, for him and the team giving us the opportunity to do it. And we had so many great speakers. We had a representative for the MP, Philip Lawrence, come out and speak. Of course, Darrell Bankes had some words to say. Who else did we have out there?
Chris Oslins from Candice Golf. We had Brian Henniger from PDGA Canada, international director as well.
And then we also, Kara Hovius came up because she's going to be helping out with the PDGA social media. And we might be working together on, we will be working together with her on some different items.
Yeah.
I think she's doing a remix of one of our old interviews. So that'll be cool to see come out.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then
we finished it, but we didn't mean to finish it.
Who stole the show?
Exactly.
Go for it.
Yeah. Of course. We had a player who's been on the podcast before. We had him come out to welcome all the juniors to nationals. We had the one, the only Nico Forbes, such well-spoken young individual. I think he stole the show.
He
got the laughs. He got the applause. So much so that after he finished his speech, we were supposed to have Sean O'Reilly come up next and do some housekeeping for the event. And I looked over at Sean, and he was kind of like giving me the, I'm not going on after him. There's no way I can follow Nico. So we ended up not doing the Sean O'Reilly interview or the segment. And then Darrell came in, and we went straight to the goats.
Yeah. Well, and before we went to the goats, what I want to say is when Nico throws out a line and he's talking about how great it is to have your family supporting you and doing all of that. And then he says, that's not partnership. That's parentship.
Yeah.
How do you follow that?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
apparently you follow it with a bunch of goats.
Exactly.
So that's how we did it. And that was
Yeah.
great. That was the Schmirgle that I know Doc Zen in the comments is wanting to know
Yeah.
all about. But that was really cool to see the goats run over.
Yeah.
They led us to the far end where Thomas Gilbert did the long drive competition.
Yeah.
And you and I breathed a sigh of relief and started putting stuff away. And you worked on getting everything loaded up so that
Yeah.
anyone who wasn't there, who couldn't watch it live,
Yeah.
could see it as soon as possible.
Yeah,
So
I've already put her comment up, but Kerry Neal said that we killed it, loved the opportunity to watch from afar. So it was good that actually putting it up after the event,
mhm.
people were able to watch it that weren't in that actually weren't in attendance. And Sean's actually in the chat, and he says still not going to follow Nico.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
smart
he's a
move.
tough act to follow. I'll give you that.
I would say so. And yeah, and it was great. Like we had a lot of good interaction there. We got to see so many different people. We can mention a few of them too.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
So yeah,
or go ahead. You want to start with someone we got to meet in person who we interviewed, or
yeah, exactly. Well, we didn't get to interview him,
Oh,
but
okay.
you know, we had a lot of pros at the event, and you know, there was Paige Pierce obviously there. There was Connor O'Reilly. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of the MPOs were there. A lot of people that was vending as well. And one of the individuals that was in maybe a division that I would be thinking about going into next year, or maybe this year later. What he was playing in the MP40 division was Philo Brathwaite. And fellow, I almost said fellow Innova.
One day.
One day, someone else who also throws Innova only. Philo was there, so he was vending a lot of his discs. And I got a very nice pink and purple boss with a Philo stamp on it, and he signed it as well. And I'm looking at his signature. I'm not sure it was intentional, but there is a little bit above his signature that maybe looks a little bit like a bird. And I said, "Oh, that's because he's signing it with the albatross,
Right.
because he's very well known for the file albatross." And then also, you know, he had another one there. So this is I think this is a galactic pig. I don't think this is an XT. No, it's an XT pig. Another disc with his stamp on it as well. So two discs that I got with from Philo, and such a great guy. Even, you know, after I got the discs and got him to sign it and things like that, I had a, you know, at least a 10-15 minute chat with him just
Mhm.
about, you know, how many courses he's played. I know he played Oak Goat last year, but now playing P15, and I believe they played Cedar Creek in the MP40 division. You know, what he thought of the courses, and yeah, just a great guy to hang out and chat to, and got some discs, so they'll be going on the wall.
Well, and that was a moment for
I
it.
might throw the boss.
Oh,
I don't have a boss. I think it's outside of my arm speed. I'm not too sure. I think it's a 13.
but to hear that you're going to
But
throw a signed disc, this is a new leaf you're turning
I
over.
mean, it's a 165, so
Oh,
it's in my weight region.
yeah.
It's a boss. I believe the long distance record is by a boss, but I'm not
Mhm.
too sure. It might not be, but I think it is. But yeah, very domey.
Well, that was cool. And
It'll go 200 feet and then hyzer left for me. So yeah.
like many of those overpowered discs. But yeah, when we were out at Project 15, we had caught him just throwing, what'd he throw? Like at least half a dozen off of T1 there.
Yeah.
And every single one looked like a straight laser, just flat, effortless. And I know anybody, including Brendan McKinstry from BR Disc Golf, who was there, had a great time in the clinic that Philo did. He taught a lot of good things. And sure enough, shortly after that, allegedly, Brendan got an ace.
No. Who told you that?
He did. He said he did. He did such a good job on the back of that disc. He signed it and made it look like different people had signed it as
Yeah.
well, right? So I think he signed with his left hand, signed with his right hand,
That's what it was.
that
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
But beyond that, so Philo did the one clinic, and
And
then
apparently we should say that was on hole 3.
hole 3. Yeah,
The
that
double
double
Mando.
Mando with the two trees. They're so close together too. It's easy to hit that Mando, but you got to go out there and
Yeah.
send it quite a ways, pretty straight.
What time did you want to message Paige just to confirm?
Yeah, I can do that. But why don't you talk a little bit about?
Yeah. So another one of the professionals that was in attendance, and she was actually running a clinic, as Philo was running a clinic as well. Another Canadian person that was running a clinic was for the women's clinic, and that was Elaine King. And I was lucky enough to find her after the event, or Brendan actually got it for me. A Brixton 2022 Elaine King Tour Series Brixton card signed. Now I know what you're thinking. Like, why would you spend so much money on a card?
Yes, exactly.
$5 is what she was selling these for.
What?
$5 or $10. I
Yeah, it
forget
was
which.
$5.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
$5.
that was.
$5 for a signed card. So no, I got one. I think Brendan got one. I'm not sure if you got one.
I did get one as
You
well.
got one
yeah.
as well? Yeah.
So I've got that. That'll go to my collection. I had
Yeah.
some of the other ones there too.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty sweet. Maybe I'll just go a little bit closer to make sure everyone can see that. But yeah, a signed Elaine King Brixton Tour Series card. So that's, you know, got so many collectibles that we brought back from the event.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of them.
That
Yeah,
was
look
one
what
of them.
you kind of stocked up. Like we realized if you're going to go to nationals and you're going to travel across the country, you're going to want to make sure you have some extra space in your suitcase.
Yeah.
And I think Brendan might have recognized that too as we were going back on the airport. And when they talk about 23 kilograms, they mean
Yeah.
23 kilograms, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then, you know, we can talk about it a little bit later on as well, but on the Friday and the Saturday night, there were two external events that happened as well.
Mm-hmm.
On the Friday, they were both on both nights, but you alternated on which one you wanted to do. So we decided that we wanted to do Glow Golf on the Friday night to leave us open to do the Crokinole tournament on the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the Saturday, when we were playing we will talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but when we were playing, Jeremy Tracy, owner of Tracy Boards, the sponsor of the Crokinole tournament, who ran the whole thing, was kind enough, and a great marketing scheme is he comes out and he gives you a little Crokinole button to take with you, which is a bit of a souvenir of the event. On one side, it's got the Tracy Boards logo, and then on the other side, there's a QR code, which I thought was a great thing to have on an item that you give away to somebody, to have a QR code that you're going to scan it.
Yes.
And then it takes you right to his website and the learn to Crokinole, you know, how to play Crokinole webpage. So,
well, and I want to say with the Crokinole, when we competed in
this is mine.
That one's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yours. When we competed in the Crokinole, like how often have you played Crokinole?
Like separate occasions, twice.
And I've maybe played it a couple times as well as you know, as a kid, just flicking them across, not even knowing what the rules were. But when we were in that Crokinole tournament, it didn't take long for us to get the hang of it. It's pretty quick to learn, and we held our own. We got out of B pool and got to A pool.
Yeah, we got into the A pool.
Yeah,
and then we were good enough to get to all the way to the semifinal.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got going pretty good. We had a great time with that. And one of the things that was cool with Jeremy Tracy is that he had that Daredevil was sponsoring. Did you mention that? Did I miss that when you were talking?
No, you go ahead and say it.
So yeah, so Daredevil Discs had worked in conjunction with Tracy Boards, and they had this amazing Crokinole board that had one of the designs from the Daredevil guys, right? Like it was just so cool. It took up the whole board, etched in there. It was one of those things where if you could win that board, or if you had enough pocket change, a lot of pocket change, you could take that home. Although I don't know how you would have put that in your luggage.
Exactly. It was hard enough to get everything else, but and they also, like you said, they sponsored the event, so they also had swag for Jeremy to give away as well. So at random times throughout the evening, you know, the first part of the swag to give away was the team that finished first.
Yes.
Because that was one thing that he said, that we're not playing it to 13 minutes like the tournaments. We'll give you 15 minutes, which is ample time to play 4 rounds of Crokinole, because we were playing in teams. So
he had it down to the seconds per shot of what it should take.
Yeah, I think it was
and
like
everybody
13
clap
seconds
if
per
you
shot.
can hear, and all of that stuff.
Absolutely amazing run event. Like you said, Daredevil had some, you know, they had discs to give away, they had towels to give away, they had minis, they had lots of stuff to give away. So, you know, even if you're not that great at playing Crokinole, there was a chance that you could have won something from a sponsor as well. So
that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then we did the Glow on the other night.
Yeah.
And the Glow, I had so much fun. Now I had a beverage or two, because there were lots of beverages available at Oat Goat.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a rough round earlier in the day. and everything got better really quickly.
Yeah, you did really good. So, as part of your players pack, one of the discs that you got there was the Glow Bash Wombat.
Mm-hmm.
So you also got that, and you also got let me get this right. You got the Proto Glow Soft Firefly in there as well. Now, I have a Firefly. I think I have it in Nexus plastic, or
Mm-hmm.
it's the Nate Sexton Firefly. But this one, just look how soft that Firefly is, and it came in handy.
Yes.
That being so soft, playing. So we played it with just the 2 discs. We've seen other people since then playing with any glow disc that they had in their bag, so they had an advantage. But we played it with the Wombat and the Firefly, and yeah, after competing during the day and overthinking and practicing too hard and maybe ripping a few shots, when it came to a beverage or two and glow golf, that's where you shone.
That's where I shone. That's
Yeah.
how I needed to compete in all of my tournaments, because we had Disc in the Dark out there, right? And we had Adam from Disc in the Dark. He came all the way up from Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
and he was there to, or was it Alabama or Atlanta? I remember we
No,
had that
it
conversation.
was Alabama.
That was the question at
Yeah.
one point, wasn't it?
Because Darryl thought he got it wrong, and then he said, "Yeah, I'm from Birmingham." So it was from
Yeah.
Birmingham, Alabama.
Right. And he had come all the way up with all the gear set up. You've never played Glow like the way Disc in the Dark sets it up, because they line the pathway all the way down to the basket. The basket is well lit up. The tee pad is well lit up. When we walked the course the next day, there were trees and ditches and things we could have ran into all over the place.
Yeah.
And we didn't run into one of them in the middle of the dark.
And like you said, that was all down to the way that the course was set up with those lights. And I seen an Instagram post of him afterwards. He had these big like Christmas light reels of him just winding all those LED lights in afterwards.
Right.
But the amount of, it must have been over a mile, like over the 18 holes, because it was winding around the fairway all the way back. And then it was even like there was points where it was pointing to so that you knew where to go to the next hole, because sometimes you couldn't see the next tee pad from the basket of the previous hole.
Right.
You had a bit of a walk. But yeah, it wasn't until we went there afterwards you're like, there was a pond there. We could have fell in that. There
were
I think
two like walls there we could have walked into.
Yeah, if you've seen the coverage from the Innova Rip that happened last year, either the coverage or the practice round or the ace race that they were doing, one of them was, I think it's hole 14, or maybe not. It's the one where it's a kind of a straight tunnel shot and there's 2 wooden fences that, yeah, apparently we played straight through that and we didn't
even know. But
as long as you don't
path,
step off the fairway, you were safe.
You were good. And with that too, Disc in the Dark was giving away some minis in that. So we've got a Glow mini here, a little one that we'll put into the giveaway pack. If you want to add that into one of our giveaways, we'll throw it in there.
Yeah, well, we should throw it into the 1,000, but we'll just drop it down there for now.
For the moment. So that's there too.
Yeah.
But no, it was all good. And I have not heard back from Paige. So Ryan will be joining us. If we don't hear from Paige, we might as well talk a little bit about our experience with Paige while we're waiting for either her to get back to us or Ryan. So
for sure.
Yeah. So on the Wednesday night when we got there, we were a little bit starstruck, I think, with all the people that were around. At least I was. Now we went over and we worked on doing the podcast and we kind of finished that up. You were loading up the fantasy picks and the nationals thing we were talking about with Sean O'Reilly, and then Connor O'Reilly or Sean Galbraith, that was. So Connor O'Reilly and Paige Pierce were over there just getting something to eat.
Connor O'Reilly.
And they asked if we wanted to have a seat, and we ended up having a seat with them. Sat there for what? 2 hours?
He must have seemed like that, yeah.
It really, talking about everything and anything. And Paige was just so gracious with her time, and so was Connor, and just the friendliest people that you'd ever meet. So it felt kind of intimidating at first, is that, wow, these big pros are here, but they made you feel welcome so quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally down to earth. I mean, that's what you expect, right? I know people do get starstruck and celebrities and things like that, but they are just people at the end of the day. They're just people that can play disc golf better than we can.
Yeah,
a lot better than we can.
So I think the thing I would say with this is that if Paige doesn't make it tonight, I'm sure when we told her or asked her if she would come on the podcast and told her the time that we were looking at, she did have a little bit of a concern, just a touch.
Yeah, for
Just
those who don't
because,
know, a lot of the pros that came up to Oat Goat were heading to Vermont because they're going to be playing the Green Mountain Classic, and that starts tomorrow. So it's a 4-day event. So she did have concerns that it was going to be a little bit later for her, but she said that she would try and make it work, and then just going to go to bed straight afterwards. But
but if she got
practicing
tired
and
out and
doing media, doing everything else that she has to do there. So if she doesn't get around to it, then we will see about getting her on another time.
well, and that's the one thing that we know after meeting her is that if she doesn't make it tonight, it's not by anything that other than it just something came up, and she would more than happily
Yeah.
come back on and join us. And maybe in that case we get a full interview with her.
Yeah.
We get a classic chain out full interview
Well, that would be
with
good,
Paige
yeah.
Pierce. How would that be?
That would be good because we'd have a reason to bring her on because she won. She's the Canadian national champion.
Yeah, not only that,
Yeah.
like we had that in the notes here too. It's like not only Canadian national champion, this was her 4th Canadian national championship.
Yeah.
To go with her 5 worlds champions,
Yeah. And
17 major champions.
yeah.
And not only that, like she came in for the 6th time she's played up in Canada. So Carrie Neal, we know,
Mhm.
and Paige have a great relationship because those were some of those early tournaments that Paige had come up for.
Yeah.
Is she came up and would play in Kamloops. And I know Carrie's listening out there and we're calling it Canadian Nationals or the Canadian Disc Golf Championships. And I know we're supposed to call it Canadians. That's what the classic. That's how you know you've been around for a while in
Mhm.
disc golf in Canada is if
Right.
you're like over at Canadians.
Right.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that was what Paige had won those first couple times up in Kamloops.
And she did give Carrie Neal a shout out during her acceptance speech of the, when she was going through her speech and all that. She did say that she wanted to give out, it's not her first time up here. She's played here a few times. And she said, I want to give a shout out to Carrie Neal, who's my Canadian mom, for
Yes.
taking care of me and putting me up when I come up to Canada. So that was a nice shout.
Yeah, a good one for that as well, for sure. And what did I have in there
Oh,
too?
Kevin has a good suggestion here. He says that we should give American winners a patch for them to slap on their bag, just like Ella did.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
And
do that next time.
we will. We'll have to do. Well, I just say get a patch made for the chain out with it's got the Canadian thing on there.
There you go. Well, there you go. We'll get
We'll give
patches
them
made
both.
as well.
So that'll be good. And then let me look at my timing here. How is our schedule here?
So while we're still waiting, and we're not going to jump ahead too far, what I'll do is I'll bring up this disc. And we can talk about
Oh yes, definitely
we
do.
can talk about this person as well. So when we were doing we were getting set up for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We were I was in my technical mind, and I was trying to figure out everything. I was getting everything set up. Jeremy was looking at his notes, making sure. And then next thing we know, this little head pops up beside us in between, behind the famous,
Couch.
behind the famous grandma couch.
Yeah, the couch that every person's grandparents had
Yeah.
is at Haute Goat.
Exactly. And it was so nice, and it was Brooklyn O'Krafka.
Yes.
A guest that we've had on the show multiple times. Our first junior episode was with Brooklyn O'Krafka, and we had seen on social media, and she does a great job on social media of putting it out there that she had tour series or her own stamp discs for her fundraising discs. That's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
For her to obviously get to all the different events and things like that. And we had said, yeah, put us down for one, because you had seen the logo last year, but we didn't have a chance to get it. And I think that was.
Don't ask me. I made a mistake when I
Yes.
said it last time. But this year, we've got a hedgehog.
She went with the purple theme again. If anybody knows Brooklyn, you know that she loves the color purple. So this is a Claymore. I know I got one and you got one.
Yeah. And
It wasn't worth anything until we got the Brooklyn O'Krafka signature on it. Now, who knows
priceless.
how much is it going to be worth now?
It was
Yeah.
worth something, and now it's priceless.
I'll never find out because I'll never sell mine.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But it's nice of her to get these for us, and she signed them, and we both got one. So yeah, collecting all the discs from all the pros and future pros as well.
That's right. And
Yeah.
another great design as well by Judge Havoc.
There you go.
So
it all ties in.
He does all of it. So we got the more cartoon style artwork that he can do, and then we've seen the really detailed fine work that he did on those other
Yeah.
giveaway discs as well.
And you know what? While we're talking about this,
You're just not going to stop, are you?
just roll into this as well. You see, I don't talk very much, but once I start, you can't shut me out. Darrell had showed this previously when we were talking about the designs for Canadian Nationals, and This was one of the Mike Ramanauskas designs, the Timbits and Coffee discs that I picked up at Oat Goat. This one, I believe, is a Roadrunner, nice 168 in my weight range again.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get it because it has the Canadian national stamp on it. So yeah, picking up. And then this is probably why I was like 2 kilograms over, is because I had all these discs to try and find their way into my bag.
Yeah, I don't know what you did at the airport, but somehow you managed to sweet talk the person working there to let you be 2 kilograms over, where a friend of ours was struggling to
Yeah.
lighten his bag by 2 kilograms.
Yeah. And I think when we had, I don't know if this is the exact disc that he was talking about, but when we interviewed Jeff Panis, the Innova Wombat,
Mm-hmm.
he was saying that for any beginners, go get yourself a lightweight Roadrunner.
Right.
But I can't remember what plastic he said it in. But I mean, this is in the Halo Star plastic, and I believe it's glow.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had said that the Hawkeye that you had
Oh
was
yeah,
glow.
it's just sitting right here in front.
Yeah, that one right there. I didn't even see you had it right there. So I think these might be glow.
They
but
definitely are.
yeah. So they are.
Well, you know what? We don't have Paige at the moment, but I'm thinking we did get a chance to watch Paige come in at the very end.
Yeah.
And when we did, as you all know, Paige did win, and it was very epic on how it all happened at the end of the tournament.
Yeah.
Because Rebecca and her were competing that whole final round, going back and forth and working to get to that win. And Darrell and I were sitting up at the final hole,
Yeah.
sitting on the hill. Great viewing spot for it.
We actually watched. I think we watched the chase card come in,
Mm-hmm.
the chase card, and then we were there for the final lead card coming in as well.
Yes. And while we were sitting there, we got a chance. And I know Darrell is the technical genius. And he saw me with my camera sideways and he was like, "What are you doing? Why is your camera sideways?" So I ended up doing a video, and we're going to show you right away here what ended up happening and how Paige got to that final
Yeah.
winning putt.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to take a look with all those people in between. I don't know how far Paige is away right now with this putt. But with her signature raise over her head,
Yeah.
throws it there uphill to a slightly raised basket, gets that putt, which ended up being the winning putt. Rebecca unfortunately missed hers. If she had gotten it, it would have been tied and would have went to a playoff.
Yeah.
And so although we didn't have Paige on tonight at this point, you do get a little glimpse of her
Yeah.
in that video there
And
that
then,
we had.
you know, I'm showing discs and things like that, so I probably should just put it out there as well that I also got a Paige Pierce buzzsaw.
Yes.
Signed by Paige Pierce as well. And I like her signature. It's a PP with 5 times 5X on it as well. So that's a pretty neat touch for her to add to her discs. So that's a great disc and a great souvenir that I've got from Nationals for Paige Pierce.
Yeah, and we do have our next guest, but I want to answer one question there. We have Josh Kern in the comments. He's asking, when will he be able to watch the Canadian Championships? And we know that Jocelyn, who is Jared's partner, and Jared, they were filming. Jared was playing and filming. Jocelyn was taken a lot of time filming, so they covered a lot of the FPO coverage and the MPO coverage, especially in those last few days. So they'll be working to put that together. And Jared works on Netflix shows and things like that, so you know it's going to be high quality. Same guy who put out all those course review videos.
Yeah.
But why don't we get to our guest?
Let's move him right along.
All right. So I did have our next guest, but this will be our first guest.
It's our first guest. Yeah, go for it.
So our first guest, Darrell, was a newer name to me before this weekend, but that was definitely on me when I did my research. He's been a PDGA member since 2020 and has played 128 career events, winning 51 of 128.
That's good.
3 of those wins were this year, with a C tier in March, a B tier in June, and just this past weekend, he added an A tier to the year by winning the Canadian Nationals. Let's welcome Ryan Monn.
How's it going?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
Pretty good. Just here in Vermont, beautiful place to play disc golf. So I'm really excited to play this weekend as well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we like to say great to see you again. We saw you just recently, obviously down at Nationals. Thanks for joining. First off, we got to put it out there. Congratulations on winning your first A tier of the year and becoming Canadian Nationals champion.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So on top of all that, that also earned you a spot at the USDGC as well. So you must be feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, very excited to play that tournament. That's probably my favorite tournament of the year. I've only played it once so far. I've only had the opportunity to play it once, but with it being about an hour, 15 minutes away from my house, it feels like I'm almost at home. You know, I'm in the home state, so it feels good to play a tournament there.
Yeah, nice.
Good stuff. Well, we had noticed that this was, from what I could see on my Statmando research, my PDGA research, we could see that this was your first Canadian event that you've played. Now, was this also your first time ever coming up to Canada?
Yeah, it was my first time in the country of Canada. We were going to play the Syracuse Open, me and Clay Edwards, but we were looking at the fields, and there was less people. Well, oh, if we signed up, we would be the highest rated and third highest rated people without a qualifying spot for UCGC. So we decided to go with the Canadian Nationals for that.
Okay, so there was a little bit of strategy in choosing to come up to Canada with this event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just played the numbers game essentially. We just trusted ourselves and playing our games, and both worked out for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you said, you're down in Vermont right now. You're at that event. We've been told, we spoke to Paige when she was there, and she said it was a bit of a shortcut to come up through Canada to get down to Vermont. It ended up being about 4 hours difference for other people that were going a different route. How did you find the drive down there?
Pretty easy. I mean, I didn't drive. Clay Edwards drove, but I believe it's actually the quickest way to get from Deglo in Michigan to GMC in Vermont. So it's
Right,
great that we also got to play a tournament going that way as well.
right. And what was the drive? Did it take you just a little bit slower without all that extra added weight of that first place trophy?
We'll say it cut off about a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, we had for people who didn't know, with those trophies, they were pretty substantial, heavy trophies, and there was a few people asking what was it all about them. But Gabe up at Project 15 had made those trophies and used some of the Canadian Shield rock and from the area to build those trophies. So that was kind of neat to find out that was the kind of story behind them.
Yeah, exactly. The origin.
Yeah, well, Ryan, we were out in Ontario for almost a week, Darrell and I, to be part of nationals, and there was so much to do, from the tournament rounds to the extra activities in the evenings, plus all of the different types of attractions and stuff in the area. And I know you were looking for that USDGC spot. So was your trip all tournament practice and rounds, or did you get up to anything else while you were up there?
Yeah, it was pretty much strictly business, as I call it. I was just focused on learning the courses and really locking in for the week. I mean, we went to Newcastle. That's where we were staying. We
Hmm.
played Project 15 the first day we were there. Yeah, we made about the 20-minute trip to Port Hope to go play Hope Goat, and that was about all our traveling we did the entire week. We didn't really do too many other activities besides that, and go get food a couple times. So
Yeah.
Right. And you had mentioned there that you were traveling with your friend Clay Edwards. Were you familiar with any of the other players or any of the other players at the event?
yeah, we also had Jakub Semerard stay at our Airbnb with me and Clay, and I was fairly familiar with pretty much everybody there who was an American, and
Hmm.
then also Thomas Gilbert as well, a fellow Canadian. So yeah, I pretty much knew everybody there who was American.
Right. And
Okay.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it a bit more comfortable for you.
And I should say, I know you said all business. Did you get a glow round in though, or did you get a crokinole round in?
No, we did not. I mean, after the second round at Cedar Creek, Clay and Jakub wanted to go play Hope Goat again, so they wouldn't play it, and I just walked. I was feeling kind of tired and wanted to rest up for the next day, which ended up working out. So
Yeah.
good that my patience paid off.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, when you look at this tournament too up at Nationals, it was a little different than some tournaments because there were 4 courses that you could have had a chance to play. Each player got a chance to play 3 of them, 1 round at each course. How did you enjoy playing 3 different courses as compared to maybe other tournaments where you play 1 course 3 times? What were your thoughts on that?
It's definitely a little different. I wouldn't say I hated it. I wouldn't say I loved it. Very mixed feelings about it. But I enjoyed all three courses I got to play while I was in the Ontario area. They were all a lot of fun. Haute Goat being the most challenging, so it was a lot of
Hmm.
fun for sure.
Right. Now, you're saying that the three courses that you got to play, the MPOs got to play Project 15, Cedar Creek, and Oat Goat. And we wanted to get your thoughts on the courses as they are some of Ontario's best ones that we've got there. So let's start with P15. You shot a clean, bogey-free -10 there. What were your thoughts on that course?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I definitely thought it was on the easier side. I was thinking 13 would be hot runs. It ended up being 13. I told Clay before the round if I shot anywhere above 10 under, I would be on lead card, and I shot a 10 and I was on lead card. So I guess my predictions were all correct on that course.
Yeah.
Man, you got to buy some lottery tickets or something if
Yeah.
you thought to take the rest the one night and that paid off.
Yeah.
You thought what the score was, and sure enough, it got you to lead card. So pretty good that way. And then so that's Project 15. We really enjoyed it. That was our first time getting a chance to play it too, just seeing that kind of different environment, the way the course was set up, some of the
Yeah.
rocks, and it created some interesting standstill shots and stuff for us.
You don't get any ground play on the fairway out there.
No,
Yeah.
that's true.
Not at all.
Yeah. Well, after that, on the second day, you went to Cedar Creek. You went out and shot another -10, this time with 11 birdies and one bogey. And now this course, from our experience, has a lot more OB. And I do have to say, Ryan, I was kind of glad to see that even a pro like you took a bogey and you took it on hole 10, where it almost bit me for about twice that many strokes. So for those who don't know, this hole is a par 4, and right off the tee, and it doesn't matter which tee you're working on, you're competing to go across this OB creek all the way till the OB starts hugging the course on the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got this tree that's grown, and it looks like it's grown into the ground and back out, and it's kind of guarding the basket. So what were your thoughts on that hole 10, and how was that for difficulty compared to other holes that you've played?
I think that is probably the hardest course we played all Canadian Nationals, in my opinion. Yeah, it was just super tough. You had to be decisive on what you wanted to do. Either you had to commit to a layup or commit to a quote unquote go for it shot. If you
Mm-hmm.
didn't commit to either shots, you're probably going to find yourself out of position or out of bounds. Um, and there's also this one tree off to the right side on the right side of the creek, which kind of catches hyzer shots if you aren't careful with throwing it too straight. So definitely a difficult hole. And then the green's also very tricky with OB on the right side and also wrapping behind the basket. So you got to be careful even if you are laying up for a par or something like that. So got to be touchy into the green as well on a longer par 4.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, and as you said, with Cedar Creek being one of those more difficult courses, were there any other holes that stuck out for you besides that hole 10 that we were just talking about?
Mhm. 4, the par 5 is definitely a difficult one. If there's a headwind like we had, you got to be very careful with the angle you throw your disc on, not go out of
Mm-hmm.
bounds on the right side. I would say hole 7, that super tight gap shot. If you are off by a little bit, you could pay the price for that one. And then probably hole 14, the super tight par 4. That one can get you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
then,
can get somebody, not maybe you as much,
yeah,
but somebody
exactly.
it could get.
Yeah. So your last round was a course that we actually never got a chance to play in our division, but it was out at Oat Goat where you shot a -7 with one bogey. Now, last year, Gannon came up to play the Innova Rip and he pretty much broke the course. So Darrell Bankes made some changes after that to give it a bit more teeth. We asked Paige when we were with her there out at Nationals how it compared to other Disc Golf Pro Tour FPO courses. So what would you say, how would you compare Oat Goat to maybe some other DJPT pro courses? MPO pro courses, sorry.
I would say it's probably still on the easier side. I mean, it just has a couple par threes that are shorter, under the 375-foot threshold. That should be give me birdies for most of the entire pro tour. But the OB is no joke out there as well. I took a couple OB strokes myself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it. I mean, we didn't play in any wind, but I would assume if we can get really windy out there, and that course becomes a lot harder. I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned there too, Ryan, you say it could get pretty windy. how many times did we drive past those big, huge wind turbines? Obviously, yeah, it
Yeah,
must get
it
windy
can
up
get
there.
windy out
But I
there.
think we've all got lucky that it didn't get too bad out there.
It was a good. You should say that it was gorgeous,
Oh, gorgeous weather.
gorgeous weather the whole weekend that we were there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you played a great tournament. You took the lead in round 2 by 2 strokes. Round 3 became quite the battle between you, Austin Bates, and Jaden Rye. We're kind of going at it through that round 3. On hole 18, you have the lead by 1 stroke over Austin. Can you walk us through that last hole and kind of how that went for you?
I'm going to back up a little bit to hole 16. We had a backup on hole 16, which I was already expecting. Austin Bates talked about at the RIP last year, they had almost a 50-minute wait on every round.
Oh,
Luckily, we
wow.
didn't have that big of a wait. We had about a 20, maybe 15-minute wait. But at that point, I believe I was at 25 under. Austin Bates and Clay Edwards were at 24 under, and Jaden Rye and Jakub were at 23 under. But 16 is kind of where it became a two-horse race. Me and Austin both took birdies. Jaden took a par, Jakub took a bogey, and Clay, I believe, took an unfortunate double there. But walking up 18, they all threw like this higher shot. They just were going over those little trees in the middle. I was throwing more of like a hyzer flip to fade with a little bit faster distance than what they were throwing. But yeah, it was Austin first. He threw a turnover, trying to go for the eagle, thinking that I was going to make an easy birdie. His over the top shot almost ended up rolling out of bounds, but ended up
Yeah.
staying safe. And I had a pretty big gap, pretty easy shot that I ended up messing up, hitting a tree and taking a par, and then and taking a really easy birdie and pushing a playoff for the second time in my career. That's my only second playoff I've ever been to. So pretty nervous on the first tee box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned that it heads to that playoff, and I know when I was standing there, when you and Austin were on the tee of one, trying to decide who goes first, and it was the hot round, and you had mentioned that you'd only been in a couple of playoffs. What were your thoughts going into that? How did you deal? How did you have any kind of strategy of how to play the hole?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I've only been to one playoff prior to this one. It was at a little local seat here in 2024 against a college disc golf player who plays for Clemson. I ended up winning that one on the first hole in a similar way to the one I just won this past weekend. But my play was to throw it a little shorter than I did in the round. I went a little too straight for my liking, left me with an awkward distance where I didn't know what to throw forehand or backhand. So I ended up throwing more hyzer on my shot, but Austin went first, and actually during the round, he ended up taking a bogey and throwing it out of bounds. So I had a little confidence that I took 2 strokes in them early in the round that I could take a stroke here and try to win it. So yeah, I was overall confident on the tee pad. Still a little nervous, obviously, playing for that big of a title in front of that many people in a new country and in a new setting is definitely a little bit nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really came down on that playoff too, is that you both got yourselves within the range of getting a putt and pushing it on. It could have gone on a few more holes, but it seemed, if I remember right, Austin had his line, but just a little too high, and he struck up the band and kind of gave you that opening. Did you feel any pressure, or was that putt when you walked up to it, you're like, this is in my zone all day long, or where were your nerves at that point?
Yeah, I was still a little nervous for sure. I missed about three circle one putts the final round. So not usually what I do. Normally I'm a pretty decent putter from inside the circle, I like to believe. Normally it's the throwing that messes with me. But yeah, so after that, I think it was about a 15 footer. I took, as Clay said later, I took half a second on it. I put my mini
Yeah.
down, gave one little look at the wind, and then just tapped it in because I didn't want to give my time, I didn't want to give my mind time to think about what I had to do. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking too, is you go through a tournament with 3 rounds,
Mhm.
18 holes around. If my math is good, we're at 54 holes. You've been, you know, so focused and concentrated. You're getting your sleep. You're making sure to do all of your reps. And then it's all coming down to that one last playoff hole and that one last putt. Like I was having trouble just getting through my rounds without all that pressure. So you looked cool as a cucumber when we were watching you do it, and it was just amazing to see you take that putt, like Clay had said, and like you said, it did seem quick.
It did. Yeah.
But I'm guessing it probably felt like 10, 20 minutes in your head though.
Yeah, I felt like eternity, as some would say. I felt like I was taking kind of a Gannon Burr putt there, if you want to say, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, aside from the tournament itself with the rounds, we kind of covered that, but also in your first two rounds, you had a chance to play with some of our Canadian MPOs, including Kalen Schatt, Bryce Krauscher, Joe Vanderveen, Thomas Gilbert, of course, and Cam Zanini. And what were your thoughts on playing with the Canadian pros? Did any of them stand out to you, or did any of them surprise you with some of their skill sets?
Yeah, I definitely think Canada has some incredible talent. Thomas Gilbert being the main top talent out of Canada, Keelan Schatt probably being the youngest, better talent out of Canada currently, besides Rebecca Dawn as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, Thomas surprised me with his distance. I've never played with him before, and he throws very far. Kalen
Yeah.
throws decently far as well, and is a well-rounded player.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on to talk about your experiences at Canadian Nationals. And once again, congratulations. But before we let you go, we just want to give you a bit of a chance here to shout out your sponsors, your supporters, or anything else you'd like to shout out.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Discraft, Circle One Discs, and Ledgestone. I also would like to shout out my parents, as they are probably my biggest sponsors, so as well as my friends back home giving me all the love for taking down Canadian Nationals.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. And with that too, Ryan, is yeah, it's always great to have that family support. We even saw that when Nico was doing his little speech there at the opening ceremonies and talking about how good it is to have the support of the parents. Do your parents and family, do they come out on tour at all? Do they stop at any of your stops, especially when you're closer to home there?
Yeah, my mom came up to Idlewild and to Florida during for the first one of the year. Then my father came up to Deglow, and my brother and my mom will be getting here in 2 hours to come watch us play the GMC.
All right.
Nice.
And do you find that do you play better when you have your family around, or do they help caddy, or do they just kind of follow?
So it used to be this running joke Jake had, and my brother was Ryan only ever played well when his mom was there, but luckily I broke that curse. So it's weird now on tour. I don't really play too well when my family's watching me for some reason. I don't know. Hopefully we breaking that curse this weekend.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
the fact that you came up to Canada, you did such a good job. We enjoyed seeing you, and you've got all that momentum
Hmm.
carrying with you. I know some people don't believe in it, but I do. And I think you got the Canadian Maple Leaf momentum following you down there. You'll do just fine.
How has your practice been going for the tournament? Is everything looking good for you there?
Yeah, pretty good. We played 2 rounds yesterday and 2 rounds today. I need to go ice my finger. I had a finger injury in early July, so gotta take care of that still. So yeah, we'll probably be going to ice my finger after this and
Right.
just kind of relax for the rest of the night.
All right.
What time do you tee off tomorrow so that people can follow along on PDG Live if they want to?
11:40 Vermont time. So,
Great.
Okay. Well, you know what? That gives you just a little bit over 12 hours now. So we'll let you get back to it, ice that finger, and have a great event. And thanks so much for joining us. It was great to meet you over the weekend and great to have you on the podcast.
thank you guys. I hope to see you guys next year. If the end of a rip comes back, I will most likely be there.
Sounds
Fantastic.
good. Yeah, we will probably be there. Awesome.
Okay,
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for your time.
have a good one.
Well, that was awesome. Hey, Daryl,
Yeah.
having a good chat with Ryan there.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and it didn't really click. Did it click with you? And then he said Jake, and then Jake Monn as
Jake
well.
Monn, yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, you knew it this all the time. You were
Of
just
course.
all over it. It was only I was today's years old when I recognized that connection.
Okay.
So what's that say? Hey,
Yeah.
well, we've got who do we have? Do we have two more guests or we have one more guest? What do we got?
We got one more guest.
All right. So our next guest was a key member in making this year's Nationals a success. All week long, we saw him around Tournament Central. He was always there, making sure everything went smoothly. Every time we saw him, he had a smile, a kind word, always busy. We're excited to have tournament director Darrell Bankes on the podcast.
Hey, Daryl, how's it going? I think you're still muted, Daryl.
We'll get you there.
Is that better?
That's
Hey,
better.
now we can hear you. How you doing?
Uh, I'm good. I'm finally catching up on some sleep. I'm visiting a friend at his cottage for the evening and hanging out a little bit. So it's a bit of a break.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the time to join us. We saw that you were there right from the start watching along, and we appreciate that. We got to talk a little bit about Paige. We'll get another chance to get her on the show. We know that'll happen. But, before we left on Monday morning, we headed back out to Oat Goat to pick up a few signs to bring home to the studio. As you can see, we've got one of them already up. We've got a whole sign that'll be going up soon enough, too. And while we were there, we saw the Oat Goat team was already working hard. They were kind of doing their thing with the animals, doing their thing with the property, starting the process of cleaning up. So how is that process going? Is the place put back together? Is it back to normal out there?
It's not back to normal yet. I've spent the last 2 days doing the paperwork and the accounting and, sending payouts out and, catching up with my life a little bit. So, yeah, we're not quite cleaned up yet. There's still lots of banners and feathers up on
Hmm.
the course, but I mean, we got people out playing all the time, so it just keeps it looking good. So, but
Yeah.
I think I'm going back on Friday probably or Saturday. I'll spend some time there and maybe pull down the last things and play a little bit. I actually went out and played a couple rounds over the last 2 days because
Nice.
I haven't been able to play disc golf in weeks, so it was fun.
Yeah. And you're probably just antsy for it too, watching everybody else throwing discs and having a great time all week.
Totally jealous of everyone. Like it was that was the main thing that was bugging me all weekend. I'm like, damn, I would love to play this tournament. Like, all these great courses. I even went over to Newcastle and played around the other day. So,
Right.
it was nice.
Well, you had said that it's only been a few days, but now you're kind of like catching up on your sleep and things like that. You've had a chance to relax. Are you getting back to your kind of regular schedule of your normal work day, work life, aside from organizing
Um,
tournaments and worrying about, is there water on the course and things like that?
um, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of getting back to it, but there's still a bunch of things I got to work out. I've still got to do payouts for all the aces that were done, the ace it with Vessi
Right.
option. I've got to contact all the people that got aces to figure out what shoes they want.
Right.
And then all our amateurs are getting shoes from Vessi. So I got to reach out to everybody still about that. The amateur winners, I mean, not
Yep.
all the amateurs.
that would be
Um,
that'd be really
so
nice of Bessie.
I didn't get one of those in my
let's
players pack.
let's clarify that one here before Vessi gets a little cranky with me. They were really nice. So but even things you guys all saw those great water stations out there. So
Mm,
coordinating with Newcastle and everyone to get the stuff all centralized to be picked up by Culligan Water, and you know, it it's going to go on for like 3, 4 more days before I get all the paperwork done, and
right.
there's still going to be some odds and ends. I still got to pay out crokinole prizes, and heck,
Yes.
those prizes from the draw we did, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
You know,
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, someone forgot to get their backpack, and I still got to get Lyndon connected with Smuggler's Notch, and whoever
Right.
won the net also has to be contacted again. So I'll um
Okay.
I'll reach out to everyone slowly and you know hand
Yeah.
deliver a couple player packs that are hanging around.
So now that the event has finished and you're wrapping everything up, is it a relief that it's all done now and it was a success? Is it sad that it's over? It came and gone, probably went quickly. How do you feel about now that the event is done and it's out of your hair?
It's put it this way, I woke up the other day and went, wow, I got nothing to stress about today. I'm still blocking out all the work I've neglected for a while, but
Right.
it's like, wow, there's really nothing to worry about today. I could just go and do nothing. So that was a pleasure.
Hmm.
Um, it it went so well, and I had so many people send so much nice positive feedback and say so many nice things over the weekend. And who's kidding who? We lucked out perfectly with weather, and everyone played well and had fun. So I get stuck in that moment going, oh, I could do that again, maybe, and there's a bunch of people that are going to be like sending you messages going, Darrell, you said you never want to do this again. So, um, but then again, it's time to submit for A tiers with the
Right.
PDGA. I think that's due this week, or is it next week or something soon? So
Yeah.
anybody that's keen on running a big tournament, they got to get their there's stuff in soon. So we're debating what to do and what to consider, and
Well,
if it's worth it. But we do know everyone's going to be going out west for a big tournament this year, so the
mhm,
demand for another big tournament may be a bit different. So we have to plan for that.
yeah. Well, we know you were in the green room there, and we was just speaking to Ryan Monn, and he had said that maybe if the RIP was coming back next year, then maybe he would be coming up for that. So, that's something to consider. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe
It's a
it might be on your
consideration.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, it's a huge sponsorship thing to try and get that many big pros up into Canada. We
Hmm.
still have trouble getting a purse that's big enough to attract and compete with the American events. And, that's a killer weekend that everybody wants to have. That's why there were tournaments in Syracuse and there were tournaments in Maine the same weekend.
Right.
And all of them were qualifiers. All of them were all the with a good purse and a good pool of players getting out a chance to compete
Right.
and, possibly win too. So it's nice that way. But, um, corporately, as far as getting sponsors, if you can't guarantee you're going to have the biggest pros coming, it's tough to get the support. We pulled it off last year with the RIP,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that had a ton to do with, Luke of Diameter Apparel, which no longer exists, just the amount
Right.
of equity that was put into that event. And, we pulled up a whole bunch of great players, and therefore the event got the views it needed in order to justify the expense of, Ace
Yeah.
Run Pro coverage that year,
Right.
and, we weren't able to justify that this year financially, knowing that we weren't going to get the pros that would end up watching the videos, in
Hmm.
total, what, 200,000 times almost,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, that's a lot of views. So, and that wasn't going to happen this year. So, anyways,
Yeah.
it's a very tough balance, and I'm definitely going to be having some talks with the office and with Oak Goat partners and the other courses, and just sort of going, what's realistic for 2026, if
Yeah.
anything. Might be a whole different approach. I got a couple ideas I'm brewing, and might try something different. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it. And
Well,
we know
you.
whatever you're going to decide is going to be a great event no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm. And the way you kind of talk about it reminds me, it's been a long time. You met me, so I'm not quite the marathon runner I might have once been. But when I was running marathons, Darrell, I remember training and planning all year long, getting ready for this one race. And I'd run that race. And then when the race was done, I'd be like, I am never doing that again. That was like the first words out of my mouth when it was done. And then I had a sleep. And then the next day, I'm like, I think I could do a little better next time. Where am I going to go? And by that point, I was already starting to. It's how fast your mind can flip when you're in that situation. Once you
Yeah.
get that release and the relief of getting the event done, how quickly you want to do it again.
that is what happens. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get the positive reinforcement that makes you go, oh, and I'm pretty lucky. I forget a lot of stuff, so I quickly black out all the
Yeah.
unpleasant parts.
Yeah, that's fair. So, looking at the event as a whole, there were many highlights from the whole weekend, but we were hoping that maybe you could give us some moments that stood out for you or something that stuck out in your head from the event that you want to share with us.
Um, I mean, one of the highlights was Paige Pierce's closing speech
Right.
there on the 18th green. Like just how that mixed feeling she had about winning it and taking it from Rebecca there at the
Yeah.
last, and yet how important that was for her to win that.
Hmm.
And she sounded completely truthful and legitimate, like that she canned a 55 foot putt to
Mm-hmm.
win a big A tier.
Yeah.
And the competitor was right there and she fought back to win it, and that's exactly what a world champion needs to be able to do. So that was probably one of the peak highlights. Standing on the first tee for a playoff,
Yeah.
with Ryan Moon and Austin Bates, and you know me worried about, oh, do we have the order right, who's this, because
Yeah.
you anticipate all kinds of stuff as a TD, and it's like, oh, I forgot to check the rules and what happened. So we did fine, and they flew off and had a great finish. And, I was pretty happy that Ryan held off and won that in the end, because he was leading for so long in the tournament. So
Hmm.
I got a bit of sympathy for that. And so, being able to conclude it just after one hole and the sun was setting there, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So that was lovely. My highlight of the weekend was 18th hole, glowy first night. I'm playing
All
with
right.
Paige and Connor O'Reilly and the gang, and we did a bit of a random doubles. I was partnered with Vincent, who's my, partner at Oak Goat to build and take care of the course. And we took down the doubles event with me acing the 18th hole on the glow round.
Right.
And it was spectacular. So that's my personal best moment for the night since I sucked out a crokinole. Um, but um, but who's kidding you? Like really, just the amount of smiles, the amount of fun,
Yeah.
uh, the amount of people that showed up for the opening ceremony. You know, who's kidding who? I think we were both all three of us were pretty happy that there was 150, maybe 200 people hanging around
Yeah.
Mhm.
and going out and watching Thomas and the crowd chuck discs off the first tee. So, so many great moments. I think they're going to be coming out in bits.
Yeah.
Jared of Canuck Hucks was busting his butt. He played the tournament,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
and then him and his wife were out filming whenever they could and putting stuff together. So I'm expecting they're going to do a lovely curated piece, not unlike
Mm.
all the preview videos they did for the tournament. So um, I'm really grateful to them and figuring out what we can do for them still to
Yeah.
make that a little more enjoyable for the fact that they put so much effort into this. I can't
Yeah.
even imagine how much effort they're putting into editing right now.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, and that was it,
I
Daryl.
mean,
You're right. With Jocelyn, we had spoke with her, and just the friendliest person you could meet, and was just more than happy to be chasing the FPO card around and capturing as much footage as she could. So
Yeah.
they definitely, I don't know where they got that energy, because we were zapped and we were playing too, but yeah, they just kept pulling it out. So that was fantastic. A couple other things when to say what you were mentioning there was we had it kind of in our notes before with Paige, and you were talking about her speech. And that was the thing, was when we're sitting there listening to her, I had it in there. I'm like, well, that's what makes Paige an honorary Canadian in every sense of the word. The fact that she can win a tournament and still kind of almost be sorry that she won the tournament.
and apologize,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just like a good Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So between that and then the other part too is when you were talking about Ryan Monn there and the playoff and stuff, was you guys did adjust on the fly because you had everything set up, all three trophies sitting on hole 18 ready to go, and okay, let's present these trophies, and then what? We're not presenting these trophies. We got to get them
Yeah.
moving. And
You've got the first place. You've got the second. Where's the third place trophy? I don't know where that is. Luckily, it all ended up down there at the green when it was needed.
One of our volunteer photographers was also carrying one of the trophies that night. So
Right.
yeah,
good. Yeah.
that's going to be a fun part. I hope a lot of people realize how much effort was put in by Stuart Stick, Ken, and even Chris Beatty out at out at Newcastle. I mean, they were out there forever filming.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken messaged me last night. I'm still working on, you know, producing and editing all the little photos and putting them together. So we're working on a way to figure out how to get them all sort of publicly available. And I've previewed a couple of them, and I'm like, these guys take good pictures. They've been doing it for 2, 3 years. Stuart's been doing it forever for us here in Peterborough, um, taking pictures and videoing disc golf for us. Um, they get it. The, some of the photos coming out are going to be spectacular, and they were given the mandate to go out and film anything. Like, this wasn't meant to be about filming the pros. This was like, I want pictures of just about everybody, good, bad, fun moments. So I
Yeah.
think it'll be pretty. Hopefully, we get those dumped in. Give us some patience. Have a little patience. I bet you they each took 1,000 photos or more.
Yeah.
And these guys are good, so they're going to look at each one and make sure they're batched and color corrected and whatever. So all that
Well, we
stuff I
got
don't
Yeah.
do.
Stuart is in the chat right now, so you gave him a bit of a shout out, and he put in the chat that Actually, right now he's editing while he's watching this. So, he's putting in the hours. He's doing his work there to get everything done and get it out.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And Darrell, we had mentioned a little earlier there was we got a chance to play at the Crokinole tournament, play you and your teammate. And we really did learn quite quickly that not only are you a great Crokinole player, I know you discounted yourself there, but you're a pretty good player, but you're also a great multitasker because you're playing Crokinole, you're having fun, you're creating and
Sorry.
posting social media content, you're organizing a drink cart for the Glow Golf, and you're doing all of this at the same time. So, usually that's not a skill of a lot of us is the multitasking. Was that just, your experience running tournaments, or were you just in the moment, or what was all that?
I mean, guys, like I've been running tournaments for 10 years now.
Right.
Like you do get in a rhythm, you are able to anticipate and stuff. You know, you guys never experienced it, but 10 years ago, I bought a farm specifically to build a private pay-to-play disc golf course.
Okay.
And that place was called Tin Lid. Man, that's my
Right.
company. And we opened that up with a big tournament right in the first year and, on private property, knowing that, the biggest part of this is it's there were only 10% or 5% of the people showed up that actually thought had a chance of winning a tournament
Hmm.
this weekend. 90% of you came to have a vacation,
Yep.
to do
Right.
what you guys love doing and going out and playing disc golf. And I was like, damn, I'm going to honor that this weekend. That's why Jeremy Tracy was forced into volunteering again, voluntold that he's got to do that and hang out and run it for 2 nights this year, not just one night. And that's why we hired Disc in the Dark to come up from the US and do that for the weekend and spend a weekend with us and hang out at Oak Goat. And why I hounded players like Paige to please come. We absolutely love to have you. You can stay all weekend. And why I hounded the office to make sure the mobile ops truck was there because that just adds to the fun of what's going on. Anthony's sitting there telling stories about disc golf and answering questions about stuff. He's a rock star at what he does.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
even I was so happy to see Connor O'Reilly back this year.
Yeah.
You know, Connor is one of the nicest, funnest, easygoing guys out on tour, doing great content all the time.
Yeah.
And if you're not following Connor's stuff, you should be. You want to learn
Hmm.
to play disc golf better? Go hang out with Connor. Get him to give you a lesson.
Right.
That's like he's good and sincere and lovely. So, um, anyways, I love doing it. Um, takes a ton of energy, takes a ton of time to do them this big. Um, I was talking, people ask me about it, how much effort I go. I could have run 12 72-person tournaments in less time.
Fair
Like
enough.
Yeah.
if I had just done, if I had planned to do one every 3 weeks all summer from May to November, it would have taken less effort for me to run all 12 of those tournaments. And from a venue's perspective, 12 tournaments probably would have been better for us conceptually,
Mhm.
Right.
as a financial,
Yeah.
Goat's a business, you know, 12 times 72 people is a lot more than
That's
one
a
times
lot of people.
500,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. Yeah.
And then a place like Goat doesn't have to gear up specially for 500 people kicking around. Like it's just, we do 72 people on every Saturday and Sunday
Hmm.
yeah.
practically. So, that's what we're set up for that scale. So, it takes a big commitment from us and from all the venues that participated and, the amount of work all these courses put into it. Like Cedar Creek was a transformed course this year
Right.
between new layouts and new stuff and all the features they put in and the
Hmm.
amount of trimming and cleaning. And Newcastle did the exact same. And up at Project 15, these are massive projects to keep these places going. So, um, and anyone that's out there across Canada building courses on private land, they're all just doing it for the love of it.
They are. Yeah.
There's,
Yeah.
you know, and we had sponsored, we had a couple of them sponsor us. Superspin sponsored the tournament this year
Right.
because he knows I need sponsorship. So Darryl, guess what? I'm going to phone you next year.
Yeah.
And out in PI, like
Yeah.
they sponsored again. And so it is what it takes. The giant community, bunch of clubs sponsored, Peterborough Club, Grand River Disc Golf Club, all sponsored the tournament. Toronto Disc Golf Club sponsored, and our whole sponsors weren't cheap. We're $600 each for a whole sponsorship,
Right.
and you know, and that's what it takes to run this big a tournament. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
plus tons of businesses stepped up, some in kind, a lot just cash, helping out.
Yeah.
So,
Always good.
Yeah. Well, all the kudos go to you and your team for putting it all on. Now you kind of touched on it there, through the interview. We asked you random questions. A year ago, when you and your team put in the bid to take on nationals, you said that you've been running tournaments for 10 years or so. Did you truly know what you were getting into with this being probably one of the biggest tournaments that you were going to embark on at that point? And now that it's all over and you know what was all involved in it, would you do it again?
um, I kind of knew what I was getting into because, I had run the Foxwood Open, and I've been lucky enough to go down and help with college disc golf
Right.
tournaments for the last 3 years. And we're running those at four, like it was around 500 the first year, 6, 7 to 600. And I don't know what we peaked at last year. It was like 700 or 800 players. So I know what it's like to build four courses, get them set up, get them all decked out, get them all approved for play. Um,
Right.
so I'm familiar with that scale of it. But none of those I was involved with the back end finances at that scale. So um, the finances for something this big are substantial.
Right.
And these were not run as um, the finances for the entire tournament just fall on my shoulders for this one because it's run through a business.
Hmm.
It's not run as a local organizing committee, well, one time, one gig volunteer type of, you know, one and done type of thing. It's formal. You're all liable for everything. You're responsible. So that was a big part of it. But as far as, and I've helped run, or I ran the Foxwood Open for the first few years, and I keep helping the Grand River Disc Golf Club continue to manage and run that event over the last few years. And, to the point now where Sean O'Reilly, who's doing the bulk of the work and running most of it, I'm just kind of a supporting crew and acting almost like a sponsor, within acting as Innova's rep sponsor, as a sponsor, and then as a volunteer for
Hmm.
the week. So I've been having a good time doing that. It's a nice alternative, and giving them to use that as an opportunity to do a bit of fundraising for their community, because that's what part of the goal of running a big tournament like that would be. So I've got an idea for it. As far as doing it again, I think nationals is accounted for the next couple of years going
Yeah.
forward. Uh, I think conceptually we would consider doing it again, say in 28, if someone was interested in having it come our way again.
Right.
Um, but I think might be more valuable if we took the experience we have and perhaps scaled it up to something a little bit different.
Right.
Um, there's plenty of other giant tournaments that need homes. I know the PDGA is keen to get stuff out of, just centered on the US and maybe take advantage that, the international community might enjoy traveling to Canada,
Right.
given, just the way the world is at the moment. It might be a nice neutral landing zone for a lot of people these days. Um, so there might be a potential for that, or just trying a different model altogether. Um, I'm starting to believe we need a little more effort at the grassroots.
Yeah.
I think there's ton. I think it's become easy and manageable to run big or formalized PDGA tournaments,
Mm.
but I think there's a bit of a hole we're missing. I'm not sure we're drawing in as many people into the sport as we should be. And I think there's other sports that are actively doing a bit better than we are at bringing some new people into play. Not that we aren't trying and we aren't doing it and we're getting people involved, like it's happening, and we all know there's people joining the sport, but it's just like sometimes I feel, yeah, maybe we're missing something there. So there might be some
Yeah.
other opportunities. Um, I'm not convinced every tournament needs to be sanctioned. I think
Right.
that's an opportunity that's being missed sometimes. There's tournaments that some people, it's just a barrier to entry for some people.
Yeah.
Simply the formality of it and the difficulty of it. And, you know, some people have, one of the charms of disc golf is, well, one of the charms of disc golf was glowy.
Yeah, it
And
was.
the amount of hooting and hollering and the amount of fun that happened for 2 nights in a row as 240 probably people enjoyed glowy over the 2 nights.
Yeah.
And you just went, none of them cared what their score was,
Right.
No.
but they were all playing disc golf. They were
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
throwing stuff through the air, throwing stuff at stuff.
Yeah.
They were
As a
enjoying
friend
it.
says, like that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And,
Yeah.
and it was all just about how your next throw was. It had nothing to do with how Jeremy's throw was or Darrell's throw was. It was just, I'm making a throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're having fun.
Oh, it was for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
One thing that I just wanted to touch on here, and maybe you hadn't really thought about this, or maybe this was also a consideration of yours, but not only did you take care of the 500 people that showed up to play disc golf at the four great courses, we had Judah Hawks, who's been on the podcast before. He was out there for the junior division.
One of the winners this
One of
weekend.
the winners, yeah, for sure. But he is in the chat right
Mm-hmm.
now, and he's put in an amazing comment. He's saying that this was an awesome tournament, and my dad and his friends are already planning a trip to Ontario next summer just for fun. So, outside of the event was great, and you satisfied everybody's needs that came to the event. But now, you've built that relationship. You've built the fact that this is a great place to come and play disc golf. So not only is someone coming back from BC to come back and play again, he's bringing friends with him out there to play as well. So hopefully, it's almost like a legacy that you've built that will keep on providing fun for everybody in the future. So it's not just about the nationals event.
I mean, that is why you run a big tournament, is to promote your property,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and so we've done that now in our area. We've promoted this region as, a great spot to stop and play disc golf. Come visit. There's tons to do. It's easy to stay here. So there's no reason not to come.
Yeah.
We also have a great community. Like, you guys saw how many volunteers were out there. The people were coming out, helping out how they could. It was tough to get volunteers this year. Don't forget, all my volunteers were playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you know
So,
what?
you
I was going to say, Darrell, you got a great point there to lead us through into that, is that when you put on a big tournament like this, it's not just, the tournament directors, the course directors, it's the volunteers. You had Sean there leading the charge with all the volunteers they could put together. You had all the people at Oak Goat serving food and beverages and doing all these things. We figure it is a good thing to do. And we would like to qualify that there's no possible way you could mention everybody. And if somebody didn't get mentioned, it doesn't mean they weren't appreciated, because every person who helped with this event was appreciated. But we do want to make sure you get time, that if there are volunteers and if there are sponsors that you want to make sure get highlighted tonight, we want to give you some time to do that as you're on the volunteers.
well, yeah, there were tons of volunteers. I mean, we had one of the local schools on the Sunday send up 6 kids, that just came out, had never played disc golf. And we just kind of coached them where to stand and tried to help out. And, how useful that was, it worked. But, you know, they clearly had a bit of a learning curve to figure out on that. We had Brian, I think it was, out on hole 16 at Oak Goat. I mean, he was there all weekend. Dustin was there all weekend. I'm just thinking Oak Goat because that's where I was
Mm-hmm.
stationed. I
Mm-hmm.
know up at Project 15, Klaus was up there managing the parking and helping
Yes.
people push through. There was people doing the parking shuttles at Newcastle because of,
Yeah,
it was a
Hanya
busy
was.
weekend on the property,
Yeah.
right? And so, and those are all course owners, you know, the
Hmm.
course owners were doing their work, but they also had people supporting them. And
Mhm.
people also came out to the properties and helped beforehand to do work. And, so there's tons, and so many good volunteers, and we appreciate them. And, we try to give them a little something or another, but, there's only so much we can do. It is still supposed to be volunteer work, but we love to show a little bit of appreciation for them. Um, I mean, tons of sponsors came up. I already mentioned a bunch of the clubs.
Yes.
Clearly, Innovus was a huge sponsor in the tournament. Northumberland County, the county that Oak Goat is based in, they stepped up and sponsored heavily the putting contest, to
Hmm.
help that and to, give a little support for that, a little bit of extra fun, and create all those giant prize backs and baskets that were made and all the trophies. They just made those and brought them. We didn't have to do anything with that. Um, Port Hope and Coburg sponsored, the two local towns nearby. Um, and that helps when your local community and tourism boards acknowledge that their, disc golfers brings value to the community.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, we had a bunch of other businesses, a bunch of the small businesses like Discape and Daredevil, and Daredevil's not small, but
Yeah.
Discape's a little smaller, and Sora, the guy doing
Hmm.
those little organizational things. They
Yes.
all purchased their they all purchased and paid some money so that they could get their name out there and get associated. And we're trying to help them out and get a little exposure. And you know and it's also a way to give back to the community a little bit. And Touch Disc Golf supported the Thomas Gilbert thing right off the front. And that's a nice bit. And anyways, I'm sure there's plenty I'm
So
missing.
many more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, it
Definitely.
was it was fantastic.
like we got a
Sandbagger.
couple. We Sandbagger, like we
Yeah.
have an environmental consulting engineering firm in Peterborough area called Cambium Environmental.
Hmm.
They supported the RIP last year. They supported the tournament this year. They support disc golf bit by bit all around the community. They play disc golf, and they support other sports. And they just have a mandate of supporting good local community events. And friends I played Ultimate with years ago, and they're nice enough to go, all right, Darrell, we'll help you out again this year, and that they're not expecting anything. None of us are hiring them to do work.
Right.
There's no business model that says sponsoring this tournament was worth, what they put into it. That's the way some people might approach a sponsorship.
Hmm.
They
Mhm.
just gave money and said, here, we'll support the pro and amateur, pro women and pro men payouts this weekend.
Right.
So, um,
That's good.
Yeah.
anyways,
So
I've rambled on again, like I do.
no,
Yeah.
it's all good. Yeah.
Well, the thing
So
is there's so much we could ramble on
yeah,
all night, but
exactly. Now,
Oh,
before the tournament, we had you on the podcast talking about it and hyping everything up, and you had showed us the Nationals merch. You had hats, you had discs, you had jerseys, all lots more as well. Now, is if anybody wanted to get any of that stuff, is there still any merchandise left over? And if there's so, how could they get a hold of it?
probably best to reach out direct to me through the Instagram page or through my Facebook page, or most of you have my phone number and email since you were both all at the tournament. So I got a bunch of the jerseys still that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
There's a few. There's a few of the tournament jerseys, but not many. We didn't make many extra of those because they were just meant for the players. Got a bunch of hats. Still got a couple of nice hats.
mhm.
This
Okay.
one looks black on black, but that's the style we chose for those with the Under Armour.
Yeah.
I got a pile of discs left over, but they're all those. Those are good discs. Those are Proto Glow Halo Star
Yeah.
discs, and a bunch of great models. They're sitting at Oak Goat. I think all of the putters are gone. And I
Okay.
think
The
all of the
Fireflies.
Toros are gone. I have a hunch Anthony took a bunch of the putters and Toros back to the U.S. So
Okay.
Oh,
they might be available at the Green Mountain Championship this weekend. Um,
right.
he was saying a lot of the Toros were the real nice flat top ones that everyone likes. And those Proto Glow Soft Pro Fireflies,
Yeah.
those were done exclusively for the Canadian Championship tournament. Um, they were not available before that. And now that they've gone through and the tournament process has gone through, a bunch of this stuff will be available through the Innova Canada website.
Okay.
I've got to give a call to John Gould Thorpe tomorrow. I believe he has a stash of the putters, and I think he's going to ask me to ship him, maybe a dozen of each of the discs that are left over, the Gorgons, the Mambas, the Hawkeyes, and whatever else I got. I got one more.
Roadrunners.
Anyways, Roadrunners, thank you, and maybe some of the Wombats, because the Proto Glow Wombats aren't easy to come by either. They are not a
Right.
stock disc for us at the moment.
Right.
So I think, and a lot of people love those. So I think a bunch might get heading back out west to the main office and sold
Yeah.
through them. So yeah,
All right.
check
Yeah.
their
Well, that's
website out in
good.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
good that people can get their hands on the discs
Exactly.
if they didn't. That there's still some stuff available. I'm loving this long sleeved hoodie jersey that I picked up. I got a
That
hat as well, and
that jersey you're wearing, there was one extra that they made, and I put it on the other day. I'm like, why did I not buy myself one of these? So I got one, but there's
Right.
no more for sale. And it was an expensive item. You paid like $75 for that or something, right?
but it's worth it.
But
It's
it's a
quite
it's a
comfortable.
full, and it's UV, the safe sun shirts and stuff, and really light.
Yeah.
I'm taking that one to the USDGC with me next week.
Oh,
I
good
got
stuff.
I got both of those, so I'll be wearing that all week when I go and help out with the USDGC and a bit of the US doubles event. So I'll be
Nice.
representing.
There
Yeah.
you go. We'll look for you in the crowds.
Yeah, we'll know who to look for there. Well, Darrell, I'll tell you as we kind of wrap it up. Last year was my first nationals out in Clearwater. I loved that. That was a great experience. But this year in the Northumberland Peterborough region, you and the team really did, in my mind, raise the bar. They did a great tournament last year. You guys have raised the bar. We appreciate everything you did to make this happen. And we just can't wait to see that happen again next year and just continue on. So thanks for everything you and Tanya and Kevin and Dan and Gabe, everybody, all the crew did up there. It was, just a great event that we're going to remember for years to come.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're so
Yeah,
happy and lucky to be a part of it.
I'm really hoping to get out to Alberta next year I want to play disc golf again. I haven't played a sanctioned event, I think, in 2 seasons. So I'm hoping that I can start practicing up and playing. And I think I want to go out to the Grand Prairie, and join in their effort next season. And hopefully they'll be reaching out if they need some help or need some pointers or a supplier or something. They're more than welcome to bug me. Happily share some of our contacts for that. And 'cause I think it's going to help if we all just keep pushing forward and
Yeah.
making these events a bit better, bit different, bit special, a bit localized, and a bit fun for everyone that keeps coming.
Yeah. Well, I know as we were walking up the fairway of one after the playoff had finally completed, I know the Dieppe, somebody from the Dieppe board kind of bent your ear a little bit and said that they have been writing down some notes and had some, they were going to have it brought up at their next meeting of things that they can ask you. And you had mentioned that you had a 10-tab spreadsheet of like what to do on
Yeah,
day one and then all the way through and just follow it. It's got everything down there. So whoever gets to look at that spreadsheet coming up is going to be well taken care of.
yeah. It's not so much what to do; it counts for everything.
Right.
So
So nothing
you
gets
still have
missed.
to figure out the what to do on your own.
Mm.
But one last thing I just want to say thank you to is to you two gentlemen for
Hmm.
coming out and just taking on the whole opening ceremony thing, and then following through all weekend with all kinds of posts and efforts all weekend. I dumped that on your shoulders, and you guys ran with it and made it real easy for me to be excited about the opening ceremony, because that was a bit of a cloud at the beginning of the event. So sort of going, oh, we got to do this too. I don't really want to do it. I'm busy enough as it is. Uh, so you guys took a huge amount of pressure off me, and it was lovely to have you just keep following up with that doing all the legwork and then just telling me to go get speakers of this quality or something or another and set you up nice. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that worked out, and thanks a ton. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys
That
have
was
been
our pleasure.
perfect partners in this event. So
Well, thank you, Darrell. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's awesome. So we'll be get a chance to speak with you for sure at Foxwood Open. And if there's anything in between now and then that we can help you out with, you just let us know. You know we're here for you.
perfect. You guys have a good
I,
night.
I think Darrell is pushing.
Oh.
I was just going to say. I think you're pushing the limit of, or the number of being on our podcast the most amount of time. So
Yeah, you're
you'll
getting
be back on again, and soon you'll have your own button on my little screen here.
just
So
like Thomas.
just like Thomas, yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Perfect.
awesome.
Take
Sounds good.
care,
Thanks for your
guys.
time, Darrell. We appreciate it. We'll speak to you again soon.
Bye bye.
Wow. Again, well, there we go. We talked about it all year long. We talked about nationals, and it happened. It's come. It's gone.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Do you feel sad? Do you feel like where are you at now after all of this?
It's funny. We spoke to everybody, and we're like, "Oh, have you taken the time to settle down? Have you moved on? Have you gotten relaxed and all that?" And I think even though we've been home for like 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've really taken the time to actually think about what we did, what
Mm-hmm.
we've done, right? So, um,
We did a lot. There was a
Yeah.
lot that happened in a short amount of time.
yeah, we had said on the way back, we were like, we crammed in everything. We did full days from the day that we got there, from practicing 2 courses,
Well,
going
from
to
getting off the plane, we
Yeah.
flew a red eye, so we hadn't slept for over 24 hours.
yeah,
And then we got off the plane. We negotiated, can I say successfully? Should I put air quotes on it? We successfully negotiated the Toronto rush hour traffic with the navigator extraordinaire.
I hold my hands up. Yeah, but no,
Recalculated.
we got there. We played 2 courses. We played P15. We played no, sorry, we
No,
played
we played Cedar
Creek
and Newcastle.
and Newcastle. Headed over to Oakgo. Did a kind of a walkthrough, run through, and scenario of where we were going to set it up for the opening ceremonies.
Did the doubles battle as well that day too with Sean and
Yes,
Robbie
yeah.
from Mist Banda,
We did.
which will be coming out at some point too. We don't know when that'll get done, but
Yeah, we did that.
yeah.
And then the next day we went and practiced P15.
Mhm.
Headed back to Oakgoat again to get set up for nationals. Ran into the issues that we had. We got everything set up. We did the opening ceremonies. Then we kind of just relaxed a little bit and kind of uploading and trying to work with all the technology that we had.
Mhm.
We sat down, had enough time to, we mentioned it earlier, and Darrell even mentioned about how good it was having Paige and Connor there.
Oh yeah.
But we actually got a chance to sit down, have a meal with them, talk to them one-on-one. We hung out with Sophia and Thomas.
Yeah.
A great night then.
Tournament rounds,
And
glow
the
golf,
tournament started,
crokinole. And then when it was all done, we booked a really late flight on Monday,
Yeah,
headed back into Toronto,
yeah,
played the island, went over to Centennial Disc Golf Course,
yeah,
and it's under construction right now, but still found a way to
yeah.
make a course through there and
From beginning to end, we had a full day every day.
every day.
Yeah.
And it was, and I would do it all over again. It was just that fantastic.
So a year ago, when you was asked to go out and do the opening ceremonies, would you do it all again?
100%, 100%. I would do it all over again.
Yeah.
So no, that's fantastic with that. And we should mention a little bit here because we did talk about going over time. We are kind of doing that right now.
Yeah.
You should tell everybody a little bit about your rounds because I don't think that I am going to be the host of the Chain Out podcast after the next ratings update. And you did good, and you should talk about it. So
Well, that, to let people know is that whoever is the higher rated when it comes to ratings day is classified as the host, and whoever is the second is the co-host.
yes,
So you had played a bunch of tournaments this year, and you had been creeping up in your ratings, and you finally overtook me in the ratings because my rating hadn't moved because I'd volunteered at a couple of events. So you became the host.
Mhm.
We head out to nationals, and it's easy for a pro like Ryan to say these were kind of easier on the easier side of the courses that he plays.
Mhm.
But for us, they were definitely high level, tricky, challenging courses that we played.
For sure.
The first course that we played was
First
Cedar
one we
Creek.
played was we played Newcastle first.
Newcastle.
Yeah,
yes.
that's right.
Which is the trickier of the courses. What I wasn't that keen on because it was so tricky. And
Well, they
it
have
had
a
a
hole
character.
called Plinko.
Right. They have a whole
Talk
cool
about
Plinko.
that.
Yeah. So we had known that on that course, because it's so wooded, you can be a great player and throw a good shot and still end up with a bad tree kick and end up taking a bogey. Or you can be a bad player, throw a bad shot, and you just happen to find the right gap through the trees and end up parking it for a birdie. So it was a tough course.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like I didn't play great, but I had one shot or maybe two shots out there that I would want back. Only two out of the whole shot, all of the shots that I threw. Played pretty good. At one point, it was a 922 rated round. I don't actually think, was it actually 922? Because obviously, when you have to wait for the other people to finish playing, the rating that you get can obviously go up or down. So I think at one point it was a 922 rated round. Jeremy's just looking it up right here. The second course we went out and played again. I didn't feel like I played that great. Felt like I left some shots out there. But it ended up being, and so it was a 922 rated
Your
round.
first round, yeah.
So the first round was a 922 rated. That was my highest rated round overall. And I shot a +3 over at Newcastle, which was a, +3. Second day, we went out to Cedar Creek, which I thought was the easier of the courses because it is a bit more wide open, but there is
a lot
of OB and it is a long course. Ended up shooting a +7 and ended up with an 899 rated round.
Mm-hmm.
Then we head out to P15 for the final day. I head out there again. It's not a course that I played well in practice, and I felt like I leaked a few shots, and I had shots that I could have had back, but I did end up shooting a +2, which was also another 899 rated round, which ended up being a 907 rated event when I'm 861, which was 46 points above my rating.
Which means you kicked some butt. You went out to Ontario and you kicked butt and took some names. And one of those names was mine.
How did you feel like your rounds went?
I had a lot of fun. It was really good. My glow round was something to behold.
The crokinole rounds were good.
Oh, my crokinole. You should have seen all of that. All right, moving right along.
The round at Toronto Island was good. The round at Centennial Park was good.
It was fantastic. Oh, the practice rounds?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good.
What about the rounds at P15 Newcastle and Cedar Creek?
When you start the tournament by throwing OB right off the tee, it did, you shake that off like Taylor Swift says, but it doesn't always shake off as easy. I was not singing Pink Pony Club at the end of my rounds. It was not celebrating. No, it was nothing like that.
One thing we should mention, and I'm not going to say his name, but we always like to bring it up.
You want to bring this up because I always talk about it about you.
You always bring it up, and it's always because you want to say it about me. Is that we've talked about it on the podcast before, that I went down to Falcon's Flight, had a nightmare of a hole, and just got in the zone. It wasn't really the red mist descended. It was more stubbornness. I knew I could make this gap. I was trying to throw. It wouldn't go through. And famously, we've talked about it. I took a 15. No, wait, 17.
At Aspen Meadows East.
Aspen Meadows East. And everybody around Tournament Central, I heard some guys threw a 17. And I'm like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah. Well, and then we got to see it happen to somebody other than you because
you got to see it because it was on your card.
Yes, I got to see it firsthand, and it's a tough thing to witness. Is we got to a hole at Cedar Creek where there was this island, and it looked so makeable. It looked so makeable. So makeable that a gentleman on my card, after throwing OB off the tee, said, I can make it again and again and again, till 7 shots later. He's like, I don't even have anything long enough to throw over this. What do I do? I'm like, pitch up over there.
Yeah.
And came out of it all with a 19. We had to all work as a team to count it. So, the thing is he did that day.
Yeah.
Then he goes out to Project 15 and he shoots the hot round for our MA40. Yeah. So he was able to shake that off pretty quickly. But
I don't have that hanging over my head anymore. I don't have everyone's talking about the +17 on one hole.
I think you guys should maybe make like the +15 club or something like that. If you've ever scored 15 or higher on one hole, you remember, and you guys can make badges or something like that. Get tattoos.
Would anybody apply? Yeah.
I don't think anyone ever applies. It just
No, it
happens
just happens.
eventually. But beyond all of that at the tournament, I should mention too, for anyone out there who is still wondering and listening, I did hear back from Paige's team here and they apologized. I was looking and Paige actually tees off at 10 to 8 tomorrow morning.
Right.
So it was exactly as we thought. She ended up getting to bed a little earlier and probably just missed out on that. But they said she'd be happy to join us in the future. So we'll get her on another show and we'll make sure to get that happening again.
Sounds good.
But I want to shout out just a few people that we got to meet in person. They were just as excited as we were. We were just as excited as they were. Yeah. You know, we got to meet Andrea Michaud for the first time in person, which was
long time listener, supporter of the show.
Fantastic. We got to have bevies with Bevy, Ryan Bevilacqua. Yeah. So that was great. Of course, seeing Sean and Robbie and playing the doubles. Yeah. You know, you had met Colleen for the first time, right?
And Chris. Yeah.
Yep. And then we also, it was funny, there's a lot of people that we've talked about, and then this player here.
Yeah, we were talking to Colleen and Chris, and this player came up and we seemed to know who we were, and we were talking together with him and about the different things. And then I think it was actually Chris that had reached over and said, "Oh, this is Calvin Roeder, by the way." And we're like, "Oh, okay, we've talked about." Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, I figured you didn't you weren't introduced to each other." And like he had said, and he even said it, you know, I think some of you have picked me for the fantasy episodes a few times, so we have. And yeah, it's good to put a face to a name.
Yeah, and I had a great 20-minute conversation with Alexandra Paletto, one of the nicest ladies I've met, and she was a lot taller than I would have known. That was the thing. Did you notice that as we would meet people, we walk up to them, you walk up to Colleen, you walk up to Alexandra, all these people, and they're like, either just as tall as us or towering above us.
And that was the funny thing, is that this guy came over to me and introduced me to him, and it turned out to be Miles Ladder, who we've had on the podcast before. And you know, he walks over and he's like, "Hey, I thought I'd introduce myself." And the first words out of my mouth were, "Wow, you're taller than I expected you to be." And we had a bit of a conversation, and then Jeremy walks over and I'm like, "Hey, Jeremy, look who it is, it's Miles." And first words out of your mouth were, "Oh, you're a lot taller than I thought you would be."
Yes.
Like, yeah, I get that a lot.
He needs to change his filming so it makes him look a little taller, sit higher in the chair. But also, too, I met Antoine Crete as well, which is a gentleman from Quebec who plays. And it was one of those interesting experiences because he asked me to sign his disc. It was my little brush with fame there. So he's got a disc with, I think, Paige on there and Jeremy from Chain Out.
Jeremy and Paige. I mean, you know, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, meeting Nico and Carl Forbes in person.
Yeah.
Gabe Robinson at P15 was awesome. Dan Baynard from Cedar Creek. Tanya and Kevin from Newcastle. Tanya driving us around.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit real quick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was all the kudos go to her for having to pivot at such short notice. But Newcastle Disc Golf Club or course is on the same property as a regular bowl golf course, so they kind of, you know, as a lot of the disc golf course, bowl golf courses, they run some side by side with very little little interaction between each other. But the day before our tournament was going to start, it was a bowl golf tournament that was happening. And I guess they got their noses a little bit put out of joint with the amount of disc golfers that were actually coming to practice the course. So for whatever reason, the tournament or the bowl golf people turned around and said, "You know what? When your guys show up for the tournament, they have to park on the road. They have to park on the street. There's no parking in the parking lot for them." So Tanya, you know, being the resilient person she is, she figured, well, how can we do this? The car park is quite long to where hole number 1 is. Let's jump in a golf cart and let's run out to the road and pick them up and then drive them back in again. And it was I think we had 3 people sitting in the front and then Brendan with another bag on the back. So we all managed to get to hole 1. So a big shout out to her.
Yeah. And she's so much energy.
Oh yeah.
And it was just amazing.
Kind of the opposite of, well, I mean, I know we had seen her on the Canuck Hucks preview videos, but everyone that we had mentioned was taller than we expected. And
but Tanya wasn't. Yeah.
No, she was an awesome person to meet. And then obviously Chris Oslins, we had spoken to on Ozolins. You know, we'd had him on the podcast. We had him on for the fantasy episode, so getting to meet him in person, that was great as well.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a couple of the FPOs that we've spoken to, we met Karen Martell and Chantal Badinsky, and also we got to meet Chris as well.
Yeah.
So he was good that we interviewed him and had a good chat with both of those.
Yeah. Finish it off with Tobin Isaac was out there.
Yeah.
52 rounds in 1 year, setting a record last year. Tournaments,
Yeah.
not rounds, but yeah, actual sanctioned tournaments. And of course, Judah Hawkside saw him at Falcons Flight, but you got to meet him, so you came all the way from BC and Alberta to meet in Ontario, and that was always a neat type of thing as well.
Yeah, and then we mentioned Brooklyn as well. We already mentioned her disc and things like that.
Yeah, and then of course one of the things that was announced was the Volunteers of the Year. Brian Henniger had announced that, and that was Ben Smith and Duncan Dixon, and they're both out of the Maritimes out east. And if you've been in disc golf for a while, you know who they are. Anything that happens out in PEI, in New Brunswick, in Nova Scotia, all in that area, these two have had some hand in it at some point. So really good to see them get honored. Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
We wanted to say thanks to Brendan McKinstry from BR Disc Golf. He came out and he's always been supporting us and supporting the podcast, but managed to survive a whole week with the two of us, and that is something to be said for sure. But we had a great time.
It is funny for people that know us. They do say that we bicker a lot, like a old married couple, and we play doubles and we call ourselves Stadler and Waldorf. Not the fact that they bicker, but that's just kind of the persona that we give off.
Crusty old men.
Yeah, I think Brendan realized that maybe, I don't know if he knew how to take it at first, of how we interact with each other, but by the end of it, I think he was joining in, and so thanks for him for putting up with us.
Yeah. And then when Oz was doing the opening ceremonies part for his speech for Can Disc Golf, they talked about that announcement. Next year, Nationals is going to be in Grand Prairie, Alberta. It's here. It's in our home province. And I don't even know if it's ever been in Alberta. I think this may be the first time. And anybody out there in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the first time. It's going to be at South Bear, Evergreen, and Thrill Hill.
Yeah.
And I haven't played any of the courses. I've heard a lot about them. I met the president of the Grand Prairie Disc Golf Club when he was down in St. Albert playing at Langholm. I ran into him on the course.
Right.
So we're going to have to reach out to him. We're going to have to talk to him and get things ramped up for the next one. You're smiling there. Are you already thinking what I think you're thinking?
No, I was just wondering where you were going with that. That was all.
All right.
That's your marathon analogy of give it a couple days and then you'll start to think about things. Well, we just finished Nationals out in Ontario. We just finished Canadians out in Ontario.
Yes.
Let's just let this sink in and let's enjoy the moment first.
Good. Well, let's get ready to wrap this one up. Now, we did say at the top of the show that we'd answer any questions. Did you see anything that ever came through?
There was a few questions, but I think they were all directed towards
the guests, maybe?
The guests.
Okay.
Kevin King had said about putting a patch, giving them a patch, and Mason had just reiterated that Simon has one on his bag. Lots of
Judah says I get shoes. Yep, he won. He's an amateur and he won, so he'll get shoes. And lots of stuff there. I think
it's pretty much just there was a mentality. Yeah, no, I think it was all mainly directed to the pros.
All right,
or the guests.
Well, it's that time of the show then where we thank you for listening and ask you, if you haven't done it already, please head over to YouTube and subscribe for us. Pound that subscribe button. What else, Darrell? Ring that bell. What else do you do on the YouTube?
On the YouTube, you want to leave a comment, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications.
All right, do the same thing on Instagram. Can you do that there? How about Facebook? Can you do that there? Like, share, comment on our content. We really appreciate it. It helps us grow the podcast, providing you with more amazing content. You see all the giveaways we have. It helps us out with that as well. We're sitting at 450 subscribers the last time we checked. 50 more, we hit 500. We got a bag. We got 5 discs. We got towels, minis, you name it. That 500 giveaway is good. And the 1,000 giveaway is already building. We're looking that far ahead in the future because we want to be around as long as you guys will keep listening to us. And you help us, we help you. We got discount codes for you. You can use Chain Out at checkout and get 10% off from BR Disc Golf. Brendan had said that he's going to be doing a giveaway to get himself up to 1,000 followers on Instagram. So go take a look out at his post there. Also, you can use Chain Out with Chain Space Out at Cardinal Disc Golf. It'll get you 10% off your jerseys. One thing we want to talk about that was that you met Austin Bates. You actually went up and said hello to him.
Yeah.
And we found out. Well, we knew
that he was also a fellow Team Cardinal sponsored athlete. So he was wearing, actually, after I didn't realize it, but I put the post out, and Kevin Fodry from Cardinal had mentioned that he was like, "Oh, sexy jersey," and I guess that was actually Kevin's actual own jersey that he was wearing, and he always wears the Fly Heiser jersey on Sundays, and he said it's never put him wrong yet.
Well, that's fantastic. So that's good stuff. Of course, you can use Chain Out at Chains the Disc Golf board game. You'll get 25% off. You can use COP15 COP15 at Goat Towel and get 15% off there. Is that enough codes, Darrell? Do we need to go get more? I think we're doing okay.
No, I think we're good.
We're doing all right.
You say it so far. You're getting so good at it now. You can run through it faster, and I can't push the buttons fast enough to keep up with you.
There you go. I should never be faster than a computer, but in this case, I am.
You're only as good as your slowest component, and that's me.
Oh, I thought it was the fact that I've got the gift of gab.
Oh.
Of course, you can support us on Patreon. You can check out our link tree. There's other ways to support us. And we will get back to Around the Basket next week. And we're going to try and get that Gold Eagle Open recap because we don't want to miss it just because we didn't have the right technology last week. We'll have it back this week now that we're home.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get that done. How are we going to finish this one off, Darrell?
Well, seeing as you have a Brooklyn O'Krafka Latitude 64 Claymore right there.
Numbers on a Claymore?
5.5 minus 1.1.
Look at you.
Yeah.
So this is like my hex.
It's kind
But
of
this
like
is
a
the
hex.
Latitude hex.
Exactly. It's in the I think it's in the gold plastic. I'm not too sure. I don't know Latitude 64's Opto gold. That's what I think it is.
Look at this.
Well,
Did you see-
Brendan did say that he went out to hole 3 and got an ace. I mean, this is an alleged ace. We don't know. We can only take his word for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to stand on that hole, I think that's a perfect hole for a mid-range.
Oh, yeah.
You would take that disc.
This one.
Yeah. You
Just-
would just a little bit of baby hyzer,
Mm-hmm.
get it to flip up to flat. You could drift it all the way through. It would make the Mando. It wouldn't hit a Mando at all. It would go straight through.
Right.
It would be gliding. It would get over the little wood wall protecting the island. It's going over the island, and it's not too far over the island. And you know what's after the island?
The basket.
The basket. And that disc would hit those chains, and it would sit in the basket. Do you know why? Because it's a Brooklyn O'Krafka signed Claymore. There's only one thing that disc would never do.
It could not possibly chain out.
Thanks, everybody.